Emotions have resonance. And about 3 weeks ago, I was having a terrible time, feeling very angry, looking at the TV and being overwhelmed by what I saw, and really not feeling very happy about it. So I went and talked to the bees and I said, "You need to take this feeling out of my body. I'm so angry with life." And they said, "You just need to have a bit of compassion for yourself." To which I went, "Well, thank you. That's not very helpful to me at all because I can't feel it." And then the next day, the phone rang. And a lady called Sue Cooper came to talk to me about the Charter of Compassion. And I really wanted to share a little bit of this beautiful journey with you. I'm so happy to see you, Sue.
I'm so thrilled to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
For people who have never heard of the Charter of Compassion, because I had only heard it through hearsay from Michelle Rox O'Neill in conversations, can you share a little bit about the background of it and what it is?
Thank you. Yes. Well, in 2009, a lady called Karen Armstrong had a determination that compassion should feature center and wholly within life. So she was invited to do a TED talk. It was the early days of TED talks, and she won the prize that year. The very first time they put a monetary prize into TED, which was 100,000 US dollars. So going back to 2009, that's quite a lot of money. But as she shares, the most important thing that the TED organization offered her was one wish. How could we bring this alive for you and for the world? And she said, well, please help me write, or help us all write a charter for compassion, because it runs through every religious discipline. The golden rule, which is treat others as you wish to be treated. So they said yes. And they brought together a lot of people, thought leaders, and they held together a group of people called the Council of Conscience. And there were 12 people, 10 men and 2 ladies. And they put it out on the internet. What could a compassionate charter look like? What is needed? And bearing in mind, the internet really had only just got going. They got 185,000 responses. So clearly there was a need, and there was a deep calling from people to have their voices heard. So this incredible group of people got together, and out of that they drew out about 8 or 9 key principles, which I can go through if you like, or maybe a little later. But the key principle really was this golden rule and the promotion of justice and global interconnection. It was launched in 2009 or maybe 2010 at the United Nations. And Karen went to the United Nations and read this charter out, and it shifted something. And this charter was then and is still held in the front foyer on the wall of the United Nations building. So what happened from there was the charterforcompassion.org website was set up. A lady called Marilyn Turkovich is the executive director then and still is now, and a board of trustees were set up to how can we spread this message. And it's been so successful. It's been adopted by, I'm not absolutely sure about the accurate figures, but about 55 countries, millions of people, communities. And it's and they have a very active website, and they have galas, and they have reading circles, and they have music circles. A lot of it is based on inner healing, so that people can come and learn practices and share practices and have conversations and meditations. So I was fortunate to meet the people from the Charter for Compassion during COVID in terms of meet online. And then there was definitely a resonance. And then I was invited to firstly attend Plum Village, which is the home of Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese Zen master, when they were reopening after COVID. And there were 60 invited guests, and I was there. Oh my goodness, I'm here. It was, a beautiful moment where the nuns and the monks and the people who are looking at transformation in terms of practices and care and compassion, how we could come together and what it would look like. And it was transformational. I then was invited last year to go to the Nobel Peace Laureates Conference in Mexico, where 13 peace laureates and about 3,000 youths assembly from around the world came, plus a lot of other people. And again, it was, when you have those aha moments, it's like, oh my God, this is what peace looks like. This is what deep care looks like. This is what compassion looks like. And held in a bubble for about 4 days, and then going back out into the world, which is not necessarily coming from those values. It's very noisy, isn't it? But being able to hold that resonance of peace and love and care through compassionate action to ourselves, to each other, finding each other, having time to deeply listen and deeply dialogue. But the key point with the new charter, because I was talking to them a lot about the golden rule is wonderful. How do you wish to be treated as you treat others? However, we actually don't treat ourselves terribly well, more often than not. We have to start from the inner dimension of empowerment to ourselves and opening up our own wounds and looking at our own healing on these beautiful self-care practices and being held by others who are also doing the same. So we start from the inner healing to move towards finding people within our community, maybe a spiritual tribe, maybe people who work in health or education, or what is it that I love to be immersed in with others, and then into the planetary awareness. So the original charter, and I honour it, and an original charter always stays a foundational document, is that if we start from inner healing and move into the planetary flourishing, so it's ourselves and the earth and the greater cosmos, be fully aware of the interconnection of the whole. So this is what came through, that it was this compassionate transformation. So that's quite and then there's a lot more about it, but I just wondered, Liz, might it be appropriate to read it now so that we could?
I would so love it. So I just want to share with people what happened to me before we did. So speaking of compassion, those who know me well know that have a brilliant mind but a very poor memory. And Sue was chasing me around the town. I was going backwards and forwards to check on my mom, who wasn't very well, and I was running in and out of shops. And we were just like talking as we went on WhatsApp. And I got home just in time for her to say, "Would you like to hear it?" And I was like, "Yep, I definitely do." And so we sat down and we did 3 breaths, and I closed my eyes, and I really want people to share in what happened to me. So I'm going to invite everybody for a moment to just close their eyes so that Sue can share the Charter for Compassion.
Thank you. So it's finding a comfortable position as well, just to sit. The charter is 377 words long. So let's prepare ourselves. Let's take a couple of breaths. It may be that you would like to take a couple of conscious heart-centered breaths. And that's a beautiful way of actually connecting with our inner, moving from the outer experience to the inner. So as we breathe in, feel the chest rise and the chest fall on the out breath. Take that beautiful laser beam of attention there. Just settle in. So Charter for Compassion 2.0 2025. Charter for Compassionate Transformation. From inner healing to planetary flourishing. The Great Turning. We, the global community of Earth, stand at a threshold moment in human and planetary history. The principle of compassion, which has always resided at the heart of all religious, ethical, spiritual, and indigenous traditions, now calls us to a profound transformation. From separation to kinship, from charity to justice, from competition to cooperation, and from human-centered thinking to universal awareness. We recognise that authentic compassion begins with the understanding that inner healing extends outward through just relationships, regenerative systems, and reverent care for all life. Compassion is both a deep awareness of suffering and a courageous commitment to transformation, addressing symptoms and root causes through intentional action and structural change. Call to transformation. We are called to make compassion a clear, luminous, and dynamic force in our world as it awakens to greater interconnection and wholeness. Rooted in inner healing and manifested as justice, this expanded compassion can dissolve our perceived boundaries between self and other, human and nature, past, present, and future. Born of our deep interdependence with all life, compassion is essential to human relationships and to the continuation of life itself on Earth. It is the path to collective healing and indispensable to the creation of regenerative economies, restorative justice, and a thriving planetary community. We call upon all beings to join this great work of our time. The transformation of our civilizations from systems of domination to cultures of partnership, from economies of extraction to economies of care, from a patterned consciousness of separation to an expanded awareness of sacred kinship with all life. The living promise. This charter is our sacred promise to life itself, a commitment to embody the change we seek, to heal wounds we have inherited, and to plant seeds of flourishing for generations yet to come. It is an invitation to participate in the greatest story ever told, the story of life awakening to its own sacred nature and choosing love over fear, cooperation over domination, and healing over harm. May our words become actions, our actions become culture, and our culture become the foundation for a world where all beings can thrive in dignity, beauty, and beloved community. So just take a breath. Let that essence just fill your awareness and notice how you feel as you take another heart-centered breath. And then it's sometimes good to put a smile on the lips.
It is so beautiful, and I'm here again. I got tears. Oh my goodness, I couldn't control myself the first time I heard it. It is so incredibly beautiful. And the line that really resonates with me is let our actions become culture. So what I would love to invite people to do is, if this video resonates with you, please send it to somebody else. So this is internet speakers saying share it, but I think with this video, I think it's so important that you say to somebody, have you seen this? Because I think it's so important. So why do you think that we need this charter?
Well, it's a different type of charter for many of them because it's an agreement between yourself and yourself rather than something being imposed, which the original charters, which it's based on the Magna Carta and Charter of the Forest, which we're going back to 1215, 1217. So it's not a directive, but I do believe it's something that we have been looking for, something to ignite the passion that actually lies deep within us. And so nobody's telling anybody anything. As you say, we're embodying something that we actually probably know deep within us anyway. And then we're having that impulse, that beautiful, natural, innate impulse to share it with another, because we're not being evangelical about this. This is something that is deep, a deeply transformational process. And I've been living it. My background is nursing, and this is what we were shown, taught at a very early stage, immediately, that to care for somebody who is going through difficult times, you need to care for yourself, and then be with. So my suggestion, only suggestion, is to embody this ourselves. And you can go on charterforcompassion.org and read it there. And then when you invite somebody else to be in the circle, the bubble of care with you, be present to that other person as well. As we did, Liz, we shared afterwards, what does this mean? And there's a rise. I can't get through this without taking quite a few conscious breaths, because I feel that surge. And to feel that surge of emotion, whatever that emotion is, to be able to be with somebody that you've shared an experience with, and then say, and this is how this feels for me, and this is what I want to release or let go of. And then from there, maybe, this is really what we're doing in our community now, is sharing it with a group, and then bringing those groups into different, what we call theatres, dynamic circles of care, where they're interested. So for me, my background in health and well-being, I just know that through the self-development educational role and health and well-being, to be able to share this within the theatre of those people who are practitioners, who have a deep sense of care anyway, to be able to share that, those people who are in research education, which may have had to come from a more cerebral place, to be able to connect in deeply again with their own sense of care and well-being, and then maybe go into schools and share it with the pupil. But it's sharing it not from the intellect, it's sharing it from that deep heart-centered intelligence.
Sure, and I do think that right at the beginning, I'd said about how things feel in your body, and I think this is what really is amazingly powerful about this. When somebody spent so much time considering what would it mean to be compassionate, what does compassionate look like, what does it feel like, what is it in action, it really does change the field that you're in, and you can feel it flow through you. And I think from as a practitioner, as an aromatherapy practitioner, being able to sit and be compassionate and caring and centered with somebody. I'm not saying that doctors don't do it, because they absolutely do, and nurses do it incredibly well, but they're time restricted. And so, this is just as powerful a part of being an aromatherapist, I think, as knowing what your oils do, and the safety of being able to actually open that channel of care, because not only can you feel it, somebody else can feel it.
Yeah, and you remind me of, because I'm an Ayurvedic lifestyle educator as well, and so I trained with Dr. Deepak Chopra and team, and we had this conversation, and he said, in a public forum, what's happened in his view with healthcare, because he's an endocrinologist, is that we've become excellent technicians but lousy healers, because we've moved very much into the techno world, and giving due regard to the technology, it's so important, particularly when you're going through an acute situation, Or, you know, now with the scannings and things, the diagnosis can be found before symptoms often. But healing comes from care and connection, and healing
Agreed.
comes from time and space in which to be with another, which is where aromatherapy plays a major part.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. What would you like to see happen from this moment forward now with this charter?
I would like this to be spread like a virus of love. I'd love a pandemic of love to happen. I believe that this is not mine. It's not the Charter for Compassions. It's ours, and it's for the. It's a living document, and it's part of the human hive. I mean, I just love your backdrop. I wear bees around my neck here.
Oh, well done, Sue.
I've got a little hive, and this is a living document which has life to it, and the bees represent life, and the beehive is the home where they come in and they give their nectar. So make this a living document within our own lives and spread it. Like, you remember we used to do pen letters? Do you remember in the day you send one and then somebody sends it to 10 people?
Like a chain letter. That's what I feel. I feel like you need to say to everybody, right, think of 5 people. Who are you going to send this to? Who are your 5 people you're going to send this to? In fact, that's going to be my instruction. If everybody sends it to 5 people, I think it would be so beautiful.
And building on that, I think if a document just arrives in your inbox, it's like, I'll look at that later. But where there's the intention from that embodiment of our own, I love this, I really want to share this, and invite 5, or, you know, however many people, maybe one, or even your dog. Because when you say it, or your cat, or your rabbit, you know, or your squirrel in the garden, when you embody it yourself and then share it with another in through the voice, that's the living power. That's the be aspect of it. That's the busyness of, oh my goodness, you know, the energy is there in it. So that's what I'd suggest. And to actually, I do this a lot. We go outside and do it. Meet somebody in a park, sit under a tree, and again, that connection between nature and nature, human nature and nature, has this incredible power. Again, as you and your listeners will know, it's just that we're just remembering now, aren't we? We're reminding each other. But the other thing is, compassion is not necessarily saccharine-like or nice. It's gritty. It's, you know, we maybe have to deal with people who are not coming from our perspective. But if we're coming from the ability for them to share their perspective, and with this deep listening and deep dialogue, nobody's right or wrong. We've all got our own perspective through our own life experiences. So compassion really is about being with another who really you might not even like, but being able to sit in that centered place of alignment and equanimity, you know, of coherence, and be with another and really open your heart within boundaries, of course. You know, we're not looking to be abused in any shape or form, but just to be able to maybe understand another perspective or hear another perspective opens our whole awareness. So yeah.
I think I read this. I was so excited after our conversation, and when my mum came over in the afternoon, I said, "I've just got to read this to you." And she's a tremendous writer, and she said, "Goodness me, somebody can write." I said, "Yeah, I know." I said, "But do you know, the most profound section of this to me is 4 words." I just thought, from charity to justice was like, I just went, it really changed my perception of, like, compassion's just like this. Saccharine is a great word, like, because there's this, because it's almost like Instagram, you know, that we have to be compassionate. But when it's looked at in this way of, like, right, okay, but from charity to justice, really felt very powerful and grounded to me.
Yeah, and it's the groundedness of it. And again, grounded is referring to the earth, isn't it? It's about being solid in your being. And charity, often, you know, we if we're looking at charity from the aspect of just giving, but but then injustice continues. So it's looking at in a way, the words for me, well, a lot of it, but is the intentional action and structural change. So that intent, I've often wondered, people talk a lot about sovereignty and agency, and I've often wondered, what really does that mean? And so researching this, it's from the perspective I'm coming from, it means intentional action. It means AI, attention, and intention. That's the human superpowers. So what do I want to put my attention on? That laser focus, and what's the intention of this, so that the structural change comes from within and then radiates out. So we're not looking to change systems, we're looking to build a new one, but we're looking to build it from that place of deep care and compassion, of intentional action. And each of us got such a part to play in this. That's the thing I love about it, and so
Thank
sorry.
thank you for sharing that, because I think that's really interesting. I always question sovereignty. What on earth does that mean as well? So that was really nice to hear that resonance. But I think the interesting thing about this is every time I've read it to somebody, and I have read it to several people now, that you can really see, and as you quite rightly say, everybody has a part to play in this. You can see how they're like focus through life with me with oils and plant connection and whatever. That's what I heard. Then somebody else who was really interested in seals, they were like, right, okay, but this is really about the seals, and you could feel like, yes, so everybody, almost like how the First Nations people of America have their names, and they become almost like responsible for the bears. They become, that's what you were born to do. This is your job now. Bring this through in what you're doing.
Yes. And a few people have said, now there's some words missing out of that. So I'll go, oh, great. What words are missing? Well, and the usually preface it by saying, well, you don't need to change it. So I thought, no, just tell me what words are missing. And they say, and I say, but that's yours. So that's your charter. So this is a conversation piece. This is a call to ignite action. If you think there's something missing, put it in your own charter and then work with that. But this conversation has allowed each of us to go, from your perspective, that's important. And when that's important, that is action. And that is the changing of the culture. And that is bringing this into a beautiful awareness of dignity and beloved community. Because when none of us doing this on our own, we're doing our bit on our own. But oh my goodness, when some of us get together and really campaign, there's lots of quotes on this, isn't there? Margaret Mead, small group of people, what changes can be made from a small group of people. Let's do
Yeah,
it. Let's do it.
I love that. Is there any sort of instruction you would like to give anybody about where to go and see more about this, or anything else that you would like to share?
Ooh, thank you. Well, suggestions. The charterforcompassion.org is the global website. In the next few weeks, we're setting up compassionateuk.org. There's only one more page to write. So that will be available certainly mid-December. I'm very happy for anybody to get in touch with me directly. So it's sue@selfcareworld.org. That website, actually, I've closed down for the time being because I'm rebuilding it. But please make this your own. Be in a position of alignment by just taking a few conscious breaths beforehand so it becomes an intelligent transmission rather than an intellectual transmission. And then the intellect will come in, absolutely right, because that's how action happens. It's like, now this, that, the other. But come from a place of feeling what it means, and then sharing it. So we're not instructing anybody, we are transmitting. It's the essence of the transmission that is the beautiful key to this.
Are you okay with me putting the words in the description of the video, or is there somewhere you would like them to go to be able to download this?
Go, yes, wherever there
Yeah,
is, wherever feels right. It is on the charterforcompassion.org now, but because it's still so new, we only launched this on November the 12th. They're still bringing their website up to date. I can send you the PDF for you to
I'd love it.
read. Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, please do. So it's Liz, it feels, well, firstly, I'm extremely grateful for an opportunity to share this here, but I'm so grateful for this new friendship that we've got.
Me
And
too. I feel like my heart bursts every time I see you.
and I just want to bring one being into this space, because this is really important. As I said, this was based on the Magna Carta, the Charter for Compassion, and the Charter of the Forest. And there was a man in history that I have a personal desire to bring back, called William Marshall, with one L for Marshall. And he was the instigator. He was the baron that brought King John to seal under duress the Magna Carta. And then when King John died and the next king, Henry III, was only 9 years of age, William Marshall became the regent of England. And through that, he, again, with the popes, legate, they sealed the Magna Carta again, because, as I say, King John had revoked it, and the Charter of the Forest. And the Charter of the Forest is really important because it gave the common man access to royal lands. And most of England and a lot of France was royal land, and people couldn't access the royal lands without um, actually maiming, murder, prison, really dreadful consequences. And when this was sealed in 1217, it gave people the right to enter the forest, to not only to for their animals to be fed, to gather food, but also to have wood so they could build their houses, and kindling and turf. So it was the start of the commons. It was the start of giving us rights, and it's based on the Bill of the Charter of Human Rights is based on the Magna Carta and the Charter of the Forest. So it's with deep gratitude that William Marshall has been part of this, and so many people. I haven't done this on my own. It's been a very democratic process. But it's led from the past into the present, and let's pull the future into the present now.
I wanted to thank you for the beautiful book that you sent me actually about William Marshall. So it's called The Light Magnificent and the Power of Grace. And I think you can get it on Amazon, can't you?
Yes,
And there's some beautiful meditations on light in it. And I just think anybody who is interested, we call ourselves light workers, but this, he actually uses light like a sword for change, and it's really phenomenal stuff. So we won't go into it too much, but I think if this resonates with you, go and find that book, because I think you will just feel like you've been given a whole load of practices in about 30 pages. It's wonderful.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
So I just want to say a huge thank you for being here today. I feel so privileged that you wanted to share on my channel. I think that people who watch, I know I'm biased, but I've got the loveliest listeners. So I really trust that they're going to do tremendous things here. And also, I'd love it if people just put a little comment underneath about how it's resonated. But for now, Sue, say goodbye.
Bye bye. Thank you.